Hey, that computer guy here. Today we're going to go through tying traffic on your FortiGate to users to granularly control web filtering or VLANs or what have you, really anything, by using user identification as well as network. So today we are on my FortiGate 60E version 6.2.1. And we're starting off in the LDAP page here in user and device. So this is where you're going to create a connection to your Active Directory server so that the firewall can query Active Directory and pull user information out of it so that we can segment traffic and use security profiles for users specifically. So you can see here I attached my AD server here. You do have to just put in these details. You can do a secure connection, there's multiple bind types, etc. But the long story short here is that you do have to connect AD. It does have this nice little successful connection status here that you can use, so you don't have to sit here and guess if you got it working or not. So once you have that added, you can now parse through that in the user groups and user definitions. In this case, I am just going to use a user group, but you can see here that in user definition, I did go into the LDAP connection and query my personal account here and attached a mobile token to it. The reason I did that is so that I can VPN into my home network using my Active Directory login, which is querying LDAP, and it's applying two-factor to my phone using one of the free Forti tokens that comes with every FortiGate. There are 2 of them for free, to be clear. So now we're going to come down here to user groups, okay? So we have a couple user groups here. I deleted a couple just to make it simple. So we have the admins group and we have the guest users group. Now you can see this is querying the LDAP server for net single sign-on, right? So if we go into this guy here, it's pretty straightforward. So this is the FSSO, Fortinet Single Sign-On Admins group, and it is querying my AD server, and it is querying the home admins group. Now, what does that look like if you want to add another one? Here you go. So when you click the plus, it's going to query over that LDAP connection. It's going to pull all of the available user groups, and you can add or remove those as needed for the query. So in this example, we're going to pay attention to these 2 here, okay? So we have one group querying domain guests, and we have another one querying home admins, okay? So what good is this to us? Well, let me show you here. So if we come over to the policy and objects, okay, we have 2 policies here. One of them is saying that the server LAN can talk to the Comcast WAN, to the internet. The source has to be this IP range, the server LAN net, and the source also has to be the guest users group. Okay, now this is the first rule in the list. So this is going to apply, so let me expand this here. This is going to apply before the next rule. So it's top down here. So if it hits this rule first, what does that say, right? So you have the server LAN going to WAN. If they're in the guest user group, coming from the server LAN net, and their destination is all out on the internet, it's going to apply this web filter. Now, I went over creating web filters in a previous video, but long story short here, this web filter basically says block everything on the internet. Now, why is this useful, right? One really good use case for this is if you have people remoting into maybe a critical server and you don't want them to be able to get out to the internet, but you need them to be able to connect to the server. So I could apply a web filter to this guest users group, and then if they needed to log in, I can just make sure that their domain account is in the guest user group, in the domain guests there that you can see. And then I'm going to apply a web filter that blocks the entire internet. doesn't block the connection, doesn't block the network, but blocks everything on the internet. So let's see that applied here, okay? So again, keep in mind, if you're in the guest users group, you're gonna get hit with the block everything web filter. If you're in the admins group, same rule, same exact setup on the rule. It's just that if you're in the admins group, all it's going to do is inspect your traffic. There is no web filter. So let's start with the admins group. So we're going to remote into my domain controller, and we're going to use the Takuzi account, which is my admin account at my home. So I'm going to remote in here, and I'm going to give it a second here. This is a NUC, so it's a little bit slow. I apologize, but let's see how long it takes to spin up Chrome here. I haven't switched over to the new Edge on this NUC yet, which is actually fairly impressive. That's what I'm using over here. So I'm logged into my admin account, and as you can see, I am free to browse the web. I can Google things. I can go to google.com. I can go to MSNBC, whatever. Hello Kitty, nice. As you can see, the internet is working just fine over here, except for this one that's kind of shady. Let's not. So we're going to close this down. You can see the internet is functioning just fine. And again, pay attention, this is the same exact device. Okay, so we're going to now log out and log into the same exact one, only with a user that's part of the guest group here, the domain guests. So let's remote in again. As you can see, I'm not changing the IP or anything, connecting to the exact same device, only I am going to be Joe from marketing. His password's probably horrible, but here we go. Same exact server, only now I'm Joe from marketing. And in AD, Joe from marketing is in the domain guests user group. Wait for this to spin up here. This little Intel NUC is just chugging along. All right, so let's open up some internet pages here. Let's go to CNET. Oh, blocked. Go to MSNBC, not the shady website we went to before. Blocked. I just want to Google something. Help me. Blocked. Okay, so as you can see, this is the exact same server. Everything is exactly the same. And if I log in again with the admin account, the internet will function. But as long as I'm Joe from marketing, who is in this guest users group here, in domain guests in AD, I get a web filter applied that blocks everything. So there's really infinite uses for this. This is a really, really awesome feature of the FortiGate. It makes it extremely simple to do things like these, and as long as you keep it organized and keep your rules organized, this stuff is very, very, very simple, easy to apply, easy to use, and has really awesome use cases. So that's it for the video today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next week, hope you all have a good week.